Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So on today's video, I'm going to have a very interesting conversation with you around the IPO launch of Policy Bazaar. Now Policy Bazaar is the largest insurance aggregator platform in India. A lot of people buy insurance from Policy Bazaar. So I thought that I would do an analysis on its IPO and give you my verdict whether or not I'm investing in it. Why am I investing? Why am I not investing? You will get all the answers. So please watch the video till the very end. Only then you will understand the entire arguments. Also a big shout out to our knowledge partners Ditto for this video. I absolutely love their product. I have personally bought my insurance from Ditto. Why? Because you get to speak with an insurance expert before you actually go and buy the product, which is very rare in the insurance community, that you get to speak with an insurance expert for free, understand your requirement, and then buy the product. Now, because insurance is such a complex topic, you must definitely do that. So you can check the link in the description box, schedule the call for free with experts from Ditto, and accordingly buy an insurance that meets your requirements. With that said, let's get the video started, and let me start the conversation around Policy Bazaar. And there are a few key points that you must understand. The first point that you must understand is regarding the growth outlook and growth prospects of insurance industry. So we'll chat a little bit about that. Then too, we are going to understand the financials of the company, what are its key strengths, key weaknesses, and finally, I'm going to give you my verdict. Alright, so let's speak very briefly about the health insurance sector in India. I don't need to do a lot of commentary here. Now, bottom line is this, and these are the facts that were highlighted in India's budget. So right now, there are two things happening in the insurance space in India. First and foremost, the penetration rate of insurance in India is ramping up. Up until this point, we had a very small base of population that was covered by insurance. If we look at these statistics, only 3.7% of Indians are covered by insurance. The world's average is around 6.5%. So a long way to go there. So we are deeply underpenetrated in this space. And the second and more important trend here is post the COVID 2020 narrative. So what has COVID done is that due to its harsh lessons, people have started realizing the value of having insurance. So this trend is very, very powerful, right? Just to go back in time, if you understand the entire narrative of Paytm or the reason why Paytm gained so much success in such a short time, one major reason was that there was demonetization happening and Paytm built its growth at the back of this trend. Similarly, the entire insurance industry is building its growth on the back of 2020 narrative. This is very powerful and it gives a lot of impetus and boost to companies who are there in the insurance sector because they understand that, hey, number one, in India, the penetration rate of insurance is very, very low to begin with. And second, the trend is very, very favorable. It is likely to stay. Now, I'll put the paragraph here again and you can check the growth rate of the industry. The life insurance is growing at roughly 11 to 12% per year. Great growth rate. And general insurance is growing at roughly 18% per year. Again, great, massive growth rate. This is the first part of the story, that the insurance sector in India has great prospects and it is already started to grow. Now let's talk about where Policy Bazaar fits, and here I will mention three specific points. So there are two ways in which Policy Bazaar is currently making money. So I'll discuss those. And there is one potential idea that Policy Bazaar can incorporate after its IPO gets launched, and it can start making money from there also. So the first key area through which Policy Bazaar makes its money, approximately 70% of the money that Policy Bazaar makes, it comes from selling insurance online. So it's an online insurance aggregator platform. If I want to buy insurance, I'll go to Policy Bazaar. Policy Bazaar has a bunch of policies listed. It acts as an intermediary between me and people who are selling insurance. And in between, it makes commission. And that is where 70% of its money comes. Now, this is an interesting chart. I will ask my editor to zoom in on this. This is very, very important. And let me explain what is happening here. Now, there are two bars that you're seeing. One is a green bar and one is an orange bar. Okay, orange bar. Interesting. Okay, so what this green bar indicates is very simple, that these are the new customers that Policy Bazaar is able to aggregate. This is the customer acquisition that is happening on Policy Bazaar side, and you can see that year on year from 2019, this number has been going up. The size of this green bar is rising. Second is, this is the premium of renewals. So these are your existing customers, that are they choosing to renew their existing policies. Now, this is customer retention. So customer retention is also growing. So both new customers are getting acquired and existing customers are choosing to renew their policies via Policy Bazaar. So as a result, their overall growth is happening, right? This is a good sign that the company is able to acquire new customers also and retain new customers also. It's a winning proposition. Now, an interesting point to note down here is that Policy Bazaar has been mired with a lot of challenges. It has struggled in terms of controlling its expenses. It has flouted SMS sending rules. So all those allegations and regulations have come into the picture and the company has struggled a bit. But here is the insightful point that actually the nature of the insurance industry is such that once you buy an insurance, you usually tend to get logged in it. So customer service post selling you the insurance does not matter much from that perspective. So the point is that Policy Bazaar might not be doing great in terms of its customer service post selling you the insurance. Once they sell you, you automatically get logged in because of the nature of the industry itself. So you need to analyze Policy Bazaar's business model more from customer acquisition point of view, because customer retention will anyways automatically happen. So this is the first part of the business and Policy Bazaar seems to be doing well. Now let's quickly discuss about the second part of Policy Bazaar's business, which accounts for 30% of its total growth. Now Policy Bazaar also runs a subsidiary called as PaisaBazaar.com. What it simply does is that there are loan giving agency or loan giving institutes. They get featured on PaisaBazaar and people who want to avail these loans can use this aggregator platform to avail loans. Now here is a chart for you which categorically shows that this segment for Policy Bazaar was growing rapidly pre-COVID. COVID has impacted its growth. So the sales number for this particular platform came down. Now this is not really a worrying sign, because if you actually check the performance of banks also during the COVID period, the banks themselves had a very hard time pushing out the loans. So it is very important for us to remember that, okay, this particular segment, which accounts for 30% of the business for Policy Bazaar, it is somewhat struggling right now, but it is growing and it probably struggled due to the COVID period. And as situation improves, this part of the business will again start gaining more momentum. Now comes the third and the most interesting part of Policy Bazaar's business model, which is not yet there. Now there is a reason why Policy Bazaar might be raising money, because there is a lot of competition that is coming in the insurance sector. As I earlier pointed out that insurance in India is a very lucrative sector. Huge population, very underpenetrated. COVID trend has increased the acceptance of buying insurance. So from that perspective, big companies are putting a stake in India to build their presence. An example of that would be Echo Insurance, which is backed by Amazon. So Amazon is a big player. It is growing its prominence in India. It has also invested in a company called as Small Case that I talk a lot about on this channel. So they have invested in Echo. They have invested in Small Case. So Amazon is building its own set of fintech companies in India. So why is it that I'm talking about this section? The answer is very simple. Because there are excellent growth prospects in line with product line expansion. There is absolutely no reason why a company like Policy Bazaar might not be able to offer its own insurance products going forward in the future. Now, why is that, and why is it a company like Policy Bazaar might find this space to be super lucrative? And let me take you to my screen and show you. So if you take a look at profit and loss statement for HDFC Life Insurance, you will see something very interesting. If you check the 2012 numbers, the operating profit were 251, the PAT was 271. Now, if you keep checking that number, you will realize that operating profits are lower than PAT. It's basically a fixed cost type of a business that once the company builds its business model, all the money that it is getting in terms of its operational income, it can invest it to generate even investment income. This is huge. It's a cash-rich business and this will be reflected in the cash flow statement also. For example, if you take a look at the free cash flows, it has always been positive for HDFC Life Insurance since the time it got listed. This is huge and it is a cash mine for these type of businesses. Therefore, extremely lucrative industry, and HDFC Life Insurance is not a very old listed company. So Policy Bazaar has all the ingredients ready with it in terms of launching a similar business. Okay, so this might hint towards the fact that, I might be an investor in this. So let me just first and foremost quickly point out some of the weaknesses with Policy Bazaar. So one, Policy Bazaar is a fintech company. It is working in regulation. It is set to be regulated by SEBI. It is set to be regulated by RBI. So it becomes a type of a business that is set to be regulated very, very heavily. Now, every time some news comes, it will impact the Policy Bazaar's size. So from a long-term perspective, if you're a holder of Policy Bazaar stocks, subsequently in the future, it will move a lot as per the regulations. So this is the first key weakness of this stock. The second key weakness of this stock is that if you consider Policy Bazaar in conjunction with HDFC Life, now HDFC Life has a lot of offices. It has a lot of physical offices. It is moving and building digital architecture and infrastructure also. Now with Policy Bazaar, it is a completely online play at the moment. It is trying to build its physical presence by setting up offices, hiring a team of agents, so on and so forth. But to do this physical expansion is much tougher. So it will face stiff competition for companies like HDFC Life Insurance. Currently, you make me pick that, hey, which stock will I pick? Will I pick HDFC Life Insurance or Policy Bazaar? I'll pick HDFC Life. Because doing digital integration is much easier compared to doing physical expansion for an online company. So from that perspective, I feel that if Policy Bazaar gets into the game of undertaking physical expansion, then it will have to incur a lot of expenses. Right now also, it is undertaking massive amount of expenses. But if it gets into this physical expansion game, its profit margins will suffer deeply. So what is my final verdict? Will I be an investor in Policy Bazaar or will I not be an investor in Policy Bazaar? So let me point you to this particular paragraph which states the objective of launching this IPO. So the IPO is sized around 6,000 crore and it is divided into 3,700 crores of fresh issue and 2,200 of offers for sale. There are existing stakeholders which will take partial exits, which is not bad because partial exits are fine. It should not be that IPOs are being launched to give exits to its existing set of investors which are selling massive stake in it. That should not be the case. Okay, the company is also planning to raise 750 crores by way of private placement of equity share ahead of IPO, which might accordingly reduce the size of the fresh issue. Now, why is this paragraph so important? It is important because if you check the last line that I spoke, which is that the company might reduce the size of the fresh issue, what does that mean? It means that the company is being frugal in terms of selling its equity, which is a good sign, which is a sign of a healthy business that they don't want to give out equity. They are in need for cash because they are competing in a highly growth market with a lot of competition coming in. They have the tools to win in this market. Therefore, they are launching the IPO. So the set of reasons by just looking at it seems to be okay. And I will be an investor in this IPO. Just to very quickly recap. Why? Because number one, the insurance sector is growing. Number two, this company knows how to win the game. They have been increasing its sales. They have been growing profitably and they are still a fairly large player. Will I be a long-term investor in this company? I don't know because the competitive landscape is shaping very rapidly, wherein banks are playing a critical role in terms of selling insurance. So I would rather be bullish on a bank than a pure insurance company. So that is my analysis of the Policy Bazaar IPO. Give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It would mean a lot to me and I will see you the next time.